Have you ever heard an Eminem song in the club? When have you ever heard in the locker room like, yo, this is the new M, I'm about to go crazy? Because I mean, I'm not taking away from it. I don't hear Eminem in the streets. I just don't. Yeah. And so again, it's like, it's not saying that he can't rap. The skill set is there. Mm-hmm. I'm just a better rapper. Mm-hmm. I just haven't been given the light that he's been given.
The game has always been deep in the rap game, clashing with big names left and right. But nobody saw it coming when he suddenly took aim at Eminem and even dragged M's daughter Hailie into the mess. That twist had everyone shocked. What made it even crazier? Game and M weren't always enemies. They actually go way back. Both of them were spotted by Dr. Dre, who signed them to his powerhouse label Aftermath. They even teamed up on a track called We Ain't from Game's first album, The Documentary. At that point, everything looked smooth, until it all blew up. Once the Game started hanging with 50 Cent, everything changed. The industry split turned personal, and suddenly it was all about picking sides. Dr. Dre had slotted Game into G Unit to boost his debut, but from day one, the vibe was off. 50 Cent wasn't feeling the love. He thought the Game was stealing his spotlight and turning his back on the crew. Game didn't want to jump into 50's drama or take sides in his beefs, and 50 took that as a betrayal. So what did 50 do? He went live on the radio and officially kicked the Game out of G Unit. Just like that. And guess who was right there backing 50 the whole time? Eminem. That's when the Game's beef with M officially started. And it's been wild ever since. So when all the beef went down, Eminem stayed solid with his boy 50, and just like that, his bond with the Game was done. But get this, Game said he didn't hold a grudge against M for riding with 50. He even said in an interview that he respected it. But let's be real, deep down, dude was still salty. You could tell, because nearly 2 decades later, Game suddenly started throwing shade at M out of nowhere. It had people asking, where did this even come from? Well, the tension hit a boiling point in 2021 when Dr. Dre took the stage at the Super Bowl LVI halftime show in Inglewood, Cali. It was a historic moment, and Dre brought out a lineup of legends he helped blow up. Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Anderson, Pac, and even 50 Cent popped out. But guess who was nowhere to be seen? The Game. Fans were confused and heated. The Game had been a major force in West Coast hip-hop and had tight ties with Dre, so why was he left off the stage? Especially when Dre invited 50, who isn't even from Cali. Game was clearly feeling disrespected. Right after the show, he jumped on Instagram and reposted a flood of messages from fans saying he deserved to be there. In an interview, he didn't hold back, and that's when things really started to get messy. Later on, the Game straight up admitted he felt hurt that Dre didn't hit him up for the Super Bowl show. He said it stung, and that's when his real beef with Eminem started heating up. Game was mad at everyone for being left out, but he knew better than to come at Dr. Dre directly.
You know, I always fucked with him, and then, you know, the whole Aftermath and the Shady thing, and he was on the documentary. I think me and 50's fallout kind of made him choose a side, and he wasn't doing that shit that I did. He like, yo, I'm going with 50. Fuck you niggas.
Dre wasn't about to respond. He's too legendary to get caught in that mess. And Game probably realized fans had heard him diss 50 Cent a million times already. It wasn't making noise anymore. So what did he do? He aimed his shots at Eminem instead, knowing M might actually fire back. It was a calculated move. Game figured the quickest way to stir the pot was by poking at Dre through Eminem. Just weeks after the Super Bowl, Game pulled up to Drink Champs and started dropping bombs. He talked about working with Kanye West on their track Easy, and that's when he fired off a serious diss. He said Kanye had done more for him in 2 weeks than Dre ever did in his entire career. That's wild, especially considering Dre was the one who discovered him and helped launch his rise in the first place. The pain from being snubbed was clearly still fresh. But Game wasn't done. In that same interview, he took a direct shot at Eminem, claiming he was the better rapper. And just to prove it, he straight up challenged M to a versus battle. He said, after that explosive interview, fans came for the Game hard, saying he didn't stand a chance against Eminem in a rap battle. But Game wasn't about to fold. He stood 10 toes down and didn't back off for a second. Just days later, he hopped on Instagram Live and doubled down on everything. He boldly claimed he'd smoke Eminem in a battle, live and unfiltered. He said it straight up. He wasn't scared of going toe-to-toe with M, no matter what anyone said. Later, Game tried to clear the air a little, saying even if M was technically better, he'd never admit it out loud. Why? Because in his words, if you're a real rapper, you're supposed to believe you're the best, no matter who's standing next to you. Eminem, on the other hand, didn't say a word. No clapback, no interview, nothing. But just a few days later, M made headlines anyway, by setting a massive record. He officially became the most certified artist in RIAA history, with a jaw-dropping 73.5 million certifications. That's more plaques than anyone else in music history. But while the industry was celebrating, Game wasn't having it. He fired off a wild Twitter rant, throwing shade all over M's achievement. He called Eminem an industry puppet and dismissed all the hype. In one of his tweets, Game wrote, "All this talk I see on the net saying Eminem is better than me because he sold more records. It's like saying McDonald's is better than Tam's Burgers." Game didn't hold back one bit. He clapped back online, saying the whole Eminem sold more records talk was fake hype. He claimed the only reason M was winning in sales was because major money was backing him. Just like McDonald's pushing Happy Meals with flashy toys. Game said, "They just put more money in McDonald's and promoted the Happy Meal, dangling toys in kids' faces." He wasn't buying the numbers and made it clear. He wasn't impressed. He went off saying they only support you up to a point, but the second you start believing in yourself too much or challenge their chosen one, they throw stats around like that means something. "I don't care how many records the next man sold," Game said. He wasn't here for the mainstream approval. Then he popped up on all the smoke and fired even more shots at M. He gave M credit, calling him a lyrical genius, but then dropped the hammer saying, "Ain't nobody in the streets bumping Eminem like that." That hit hard. Game was making it known. Respect the skill, but don't confuse it with street love. After that, Game went quiet for a minute. He focused on finishing his 10th studio album Drillmatic, Heart vs. Mind. Fans assumed the beef had cooled down, maybe even done for good. But they were dead wrong. When the album finally dropped in August 2022, it came packed with a bombshell. A 10-minute diss track aimed directly at Eminem, called The Black Slim Shady. The track opened with a creepy skit from a fictional Uber driver named Matthew, who claimed to be the brother of Stan, the fan from M's iconic song. And from there, Game went savage. He ripped into Eminem's past, talking about his struggles with addiction, family drama, and even accusing him of culture-jacking the rap game. Game didn't hold back. He went after every corner of M's legacy and tried to tear it all down line by line. On The Black Slim Shady, the Game went all in, dropping ruthless bars aimed straight at Eminem, and he didn't hold anything back. At one point, he mocked M's success, rapping, "So, oh, he goes platinum, and oh, I'm on the math with him. He got all the blackest friends. He wants to be African, me? Lear, dead on the Doctor's Advocate. Dre never executive produced it. I just imagined it." He was calling out M's cosigns and questioning the authenticity behind his rise. Then he flipped it again, calling Eminem's hits magic tricks, clowning tracks like Candy Shop and Magic Stick. And just when you thought he might ease up, he threw in another punch, saying nobody's actually playing Eminem in real life. Not in the streets, not in the club, not even in the car. He rapped, "I never heard you in the club. I never heard you in the bar. 11 albums and 10 never got played inside my car. I'd rather listen to Snitch 99 like 69 times than listen to you. You're a Karen. Call the cops." That was a direct slap, comparing M to 6699 and even calling him a Karen? And it wasn't just Eminem catching smoke. Game also aimed at Dr. Dre with a wild line. "I killed Dr. Dre in my basement last night. I was wasted last night. I went ape last night, chopped his body up and forgot where I placed it last night." That bar had everyone like, what, 50 Cent didn't get a pass either. Game rapped, "You done pissed off Jimmy, Universal, and Interscope? Now I got Jimmy, Slim, 50, and Universal in a scope. Cause I'm shading shadier than him. I'm crazy, crazier than Kim." He was calling out the whole crew, from M to the label heads. And then came the most controversial line of all. Game brought up Eminem's daughter, Hailie. He spit, "Drop the world on your head with one arm. Dear Slim, Hailie's with me and she's unarmed for now." It was raw, relentless, and clearly made to push every button. But even with all that, Eminem stayed completely silent, making it hard for Game to keep the beef alive when the other side just won't engage. Even after dropping a 10-minute diss track aimed straight at Eminem, the Game got nothing but silence in return. The real Slim Shady didn't respond. Not a verse, not a tweet, nothing. That silence had fans clowning the Game all over social media. Memes started popping up everywhere with captions like, "Me waiting for Eminem's response to the Game." It was savage. People started saying it looked wild for Game to pour that much energy into a one-sided beef. Instead of sparking a rap war, it came off like he was yelling into the void. Later, Game switched up the tone. He said he didn't even have real problems with M like that. It was all healthy competition. On the Rap Radar podcast, when asked why he dissed such a legendary rapper, Game straight up said, "Because nobody else would." He made it sound like it was just about shaking the table. He even admitted there was nothing personal, no real beef. In fact, he said he'd been a fan of Eminem for years. Game explained that taking shots at someone he admired made it feel more like a challenge, like proving himself against the top dog. But after months passed and M still hadn't said a word, Game turned it up a notch. That's when things got messier. After the Black Slim Shady dropped, a Twitter account claiming to be Eminem's daughter, Hailie, started making waves. The account tweeted about the track and called the Game obsessed. Rumors flew that she was clapping back on her dad's behalf, but no one could confirm if the account was even real. Still, it added fuel to the fire, and Game's obsession with getting a response from M started looking more desperate than dangerous. The tweet that sparked it all read, "If you have to make a song 10 minutes long about someone you dislike, it's giving obsessed. And my dad is so legendary that people have to diss him in their songs just to attract an audience because they know they'd flunk without the attention." That post lit up the internet, with everyone thinking Eminem's daughter Hailie was finally clapping back at the Game. But then, plot twist, the real Hailie stepped in on Instagram and shut it all down. She claimed the account tweeting all that heat was fake. Still, that didn't stop the rumors from going viral. People ran with the idea that Hailie was secretly behind the burner account, firing shots from the shadows. And the Game? He didn't help the situation at all. Instead of cooling off, he started trolling Hailie even harder online. It was getting messy. Then things took another turn when boxer Peter Wileen posted a collage of Hailie's pictures on Facebook captioned, "Eminem's daughter then and now. P.S. She's 26. The post went up like wildfire. But what really blew it up? The Game jumped in the comments and wrote, "Can she rap?" That one line, it went viral. Over 4,000 likes, 1,000 replies, and most of them weren't in his favor. Eminem fans dragged him. They said he was reaching and doing too much. One person clapped back, "Maybe she can't rap, but she's more relevant than your entire career." Another warned him, "Look what happened to the last artist who talked about M's daughter. You'll be next," referencing the whole Machine Gun Kelly fallout. A lot of folks felt Game crossed the line, saying if you got beef, keep it with the rappers. Bringing someone's kid into it, even if they're grown, was seen as a low blow. After all the chaos, the Game seemed to finally cool down. He stopped going at Eminem so hard, and fans started thinking the beef was done for real. Until boom, out of nowhere, Eminem finally clapped back in August 2023. It wasn't a full-blown diss track, but it was a response. M popped up on Realist, a track by Shady Records artist Ez Mill, and dropped a slick verse that clearly addressed the Game's club comments. M rapped, "All the envious rappers I torch if I'm on a joint with them, and their only retort is, 'I'm not played in the clubs?' Motherfucker, put a cork in it. Mata, only reason they still play your SIEs in the clubs is because you're still performing it." Even though M never mentioned Game by name, everybody knew who that was for. 1 year later, Game finally got the response he was chasing. But it wasn't the head-to-head lyrical war he might have wanted. Fans are still hoping M will drop a full diss track, but at this point, it's looking unlikely. And Game? So far, he's stayed quiet. No response, no track, just silence. But with how wild things have gotten between these two, you never know. This beef might still have one more round left in it. If you were hooked by the drama, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, drop a comment below, and share this video with your people. You do not want to miss what happens next.